Hey everyone, this is Teresa Hegel, Executive Editor of Special Projects and Sustainability at ASI.
And this is Cassie Green, Content Director of Apparelist and Editor at Printing United Alliance. And you're listening to Branding Together, a new adventure into the converging worlds of print and promo.
We're here to bring you an engaging monthly discussion that dissects just how closely each of these industries align. Whether you're a promotional products distributor, commercial printer, apparel decorator, or a little bit of everything, our topics and guests will bring the ultimate crossover conversation.
When you're ready to bring your business to the next level, get lost in this month's episode, which is set to happen in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Yay. It is the month of March, and March is personally one of my favorite months in the year because it's Women's History Month, so who doesn't like celebrating that? Obviously, Teresa and I are both excited about that. I also am really excited about St. Patrick's Day and this whole idea of luck. And then as a basketball fan, I'm super into March Madness. So yay, month of March, branding together. Welcome, Teresa. Really excited to have this month's episode ready to go.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a fun one.
And as per usual, Teresa and I will kind of give some rundowns of relevant, important information we're seeing in our industries, following a very special guest that we have who we're really excited to talk to. And then, of course, we have to have a little fun at the end of the episode.
That's what we do.
I know. Why not? Let's lean into it. So, Teresa, to kick things off, do you want to start with some of the relevant, important headlines? Any cool news you're seeing on the promo side of the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I have two things that I picked out for today. Of course, we could talk about tariffs, but I don't really want to. So if you want the up-to-date tariff news, you can go on our site. We got it all. My colleague, Chris Ruvo, he's kind of a machine, filling us all in on what's going on with that. But one thing I wanted to talk about was this really in-depth, data-driven story that my colleague Hannah Rosenberger did on the white-collar recession. So basically the idea is that we're kind of in this white-collar recession where there's sort of an economic slowdown, and some of the jobs like banking and software development, things like that, have sort of leveled out their hiring to pre-pandemic numbers, below pre-pandemic levels, actually. So what does that mean for the promo industry is kind of what we looked at in the story. So for one thing, there's a shift in promo spending. So that kind of means that companies are allocating their promotional budgets in different ways. Instead of general appreciation gifts, there's a growing focus on targeted promotional activities and executive gifting. Of course, another thing the story kind of points out is that employers have more leverage now than employees did during the pandemic. So that means that in promo terms, that means that they're not having to spend as much money on retaining employees, or it's not that they don't care about it, but it's not, back during the pandemic, people were spending so much we got to, incentivize people to come to us and stay with us, which can also lead to a lot of kidding and cool promotional stuff. But that's sort of waning a little bit with hiring slowdowns. Basically, obviously promo is not going away, but this is definitely a trend to keep an eye on because it does change the way people buy print and promo. So it's a really in-depth, interesting story. So I would recommend anyone who wants to learn more should go on our website and look for that story. And we'll put it in the show notes, of course.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, one of the things I've always found really cool about your team and Hannah in particular is you all have really good data reporting. And I think that's really helpful to our industry. I like that there's numbers, real things associated with it.
For sure.
So, okay, well, I don't have a specific headline per se to share with everybody this month. However, some big things that have been happening in February all surround events in the printing industry space, which is really fascinating because there's a couple different events I want to talk about, but they all are pointing to the same themes that we're seeing on the printing side. So Starting with an event that Printing United Alliance held in late February, the Leadership Summit was really fascinating. So we basically bring together a lot of the industry leaders across all the printing verticals. So it's not just limited to commercial printing or apparel decorators or wide format printers. It's everybody coming together who, generally these attendees are in high leadership roles in their printing shops. And these guys and gals are talking about all of the things they're seeing happening in the industry, how it's reshaping the industry, and what needs to happen in order for the industry to adjust and move forward. And my colleague, Ashley Roberts, who is the content director for Printing Impressions, did a lot of the reporting from there. And some of the big themes that we saw come out of that were, of course, AI, automation, staffing, and M&A. So, talk about like tariffs is a dead horse topic. Some of these topics are too. However, because it takes kind of a long time to reshape the industry and remold it and go through change, these are the topics we are going to continue to see reshaping the industry. And then tied in with that event, Ashley, who is a rock star, did some back-to-back travel. So she was in Florida for the Leadership Summit. And then she flew overseas to Hunkler Innovation Days.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? Could talk about, again, rock star status. That's all I can say.
I hope she took some time off to rest after that.
You know what? She was part of a big editorial meeting we had a few days after. So maybe, I don't know, maybe she took a weekend. I hope so, because I'm sure she had some massive jet lag. But when she was at Hunkler Innovation Days, she also did a lot of reporting, a lot of interviewing, talking to largely commercial printers in this space, again, about a lot of these same topics. So seeing it in Europe and here, traditionally the US tends to follow Europe when it comes to trends and whatnot. However, interesting again to see all of these trends playing out, and that we are seeing things like automation and staffing issues continue to be driving factors in new technology and new equipment and things like that. So wanted to really point all of our readers. Most of those stories do live on Printing Impressions website, piworld.com. But of course, most of us are sharing a lot of these stories on our respective websites. So even if you want to read them on like wide format impressions, Apparelist has shared a few things, that's where you can really go to get some updates on these events and kind of what Ashley reported while on site.
I was kind of following along her travels on LinkedIn. She kept posting like selfies with different people at the event. So I was like, you could definitely tell she was busy.
I know, right? My goodness.
So I have one other story I wanted to share. This was from February as well. It was a story that I wrote actually about company stores and why they're so pivotal. So a company store, of course, is like any kind of store that a distributor sets up for a business that sells either their own branded apparel to their employees, or it could be like customer facing and be like retail like e-commerce in a traditional sense. But it's a very kind of important offering for people in promo to have. And one of the people that I talked to specifically said he used to try to sell people out of offering company stores because they can be complicated, they can be difficult to run, and not everyone actually does need them. However, now they are kind of a must-have, and in any conversation with a bigger company, they want that up front. So you kind of have to be able to offer it. But one of the big benefits, of course, is that it leads to stickier clients because it takes some effort to set up. Once it's set up and going, and people are getting those repeat orders where so-and-so needs a new polo with the company logo, or there's incentive rewards for safety, or for whatever the reason is. Once it's set up, like a client is less if it's working the way it should, a client is going to be less likely to skip town because it's going to take a long time to get set up with another distributor to do the same thing. So it's really beneficial to have, of course, the automation and efficiency benefits are huge for like simplifying and streamlining the order process. This is a big thing, I think, in print too, just with the idea of print on demand and having these e-commerce
Yeah.
solutions. So this really kind of, I think, crosses over to both print and promo. But there's still challenges. I feel like we still don't have, there's lots of companies out there that are offering some of the solution, but because promo and print is such a custom and kind of complicated process, I don't think there's necessarily the technology solution that does everything that everybody wants yet. So we're still trying to kind of figure that out. And whoever does is going to be doing very well, I think.
Right. And I would like to add on to that, point out a little mini episode that Teresa and I did while we were actually together in person. Yay. In again at the end of February. I feel like, man, the end of February was happening.
It was a short month, but we packed a lot into it.
We sure did. Maybe we do that on purpose since February is short. I don't know. But we attended a print on demand conference that was hosted by Sales Fulfillment Engine. But we did talk a lot about that in the mini episode. So I don't want to go too deep into it because go listen to that episode, right? But had to tack that on. So cool. Well, big news. We'll make sure we share all the relevant links in the show notes, as Teresa mentioned. But I do want to move on to the next segment of our episode because this is actually a really fun, but also really cool piece that Teresa and I came up with. So, as we talked a little bit about in the intro, March is often associated with like St. Patrick's Day and the idea of luck and leprechauns and finding your lucky break and all of that stuff. So, Teresa and I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about maybe some lucky breaks that we have experienced or some good fortune, however you want to word it, professionally or personally, I guess. It doesn't really matter, that sort of propelled us to where we are now. Because both of us, Teresa, have been in the industry for quite a number of years. So my guess is we've probably each had more than one lucky break, quote unquote.
Yeah, I can start with mine.
Sure.
My lucky break, I would say, is actually getting the job at ASI. It was sort of random. I had never heard of this place, but my colleague Chris Ruvo, who I referenced before, he used to work at the same newspaper as I did. We worked for several years at a daily newspaper called The Intelligencer in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And then he left, but he was still freelancing for us. So we would be in contact, periodically. And he happened to mention that there was a job opening where he worked. And he was like, do you know of any reporters that would be interested? And I was looking for a change. So I was like, yes, I know someone and it is me. And then I didn't tell anybody else about the job. I just applied and I got it. And that was like almost 11 years ago now. So it worked out. But it was kind of lucky because I had never heard of Promotional Products, never heard of ASI until he happened to mention, I think in an email, like, hey, do you know anyone who would be interested? So it worked out.
So that kind of, one of the things Teresa and I were talking about before we decided to do this episode is there's luck, but there's also hard work. So these things sort of go together. So Teresa, obviously you knew Christopher. So you were smart in that you kept your networking channels open. So that's sort of maybe the tandem of.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously I got hired and stayed. It wasn't like I got hired and like just did nothing. You know what I mean? Like hopefully I've been working hard and trying to prove myself in the last decade.
Right. No, I love that. My story of luck goes back to my previous job. So before I was with Printing United Alliance, it was with a company called National Business Media, NBM. That, if you go way back in the day, when I first started in this industry, had 3 different publications in the graphics industry. There was Printwear, there was Sign and Digital Graphics, and there was A&E Magazine. So I got my start with Printwear magazine. However, I was doing work for A&E Magazine as well, as all of us as journalists often do. Teresa even just said it, even though she was, working for a newspaper, Christopher was working for ASI, there was a little bit of crossover, looking for freelance gigs and whatnot. So I was also working for A&E Magazine, and I was maybe only 2 years into my career. Now, mind you, I'm fresh out of college, so I'm still pretty bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm still relatively young in the industry. And out of nowhere, unexpectedly, the editor-in-chief of A&E Magazine left. Decided that was it. He was done. He was leaving. Sort of gave 2 weeks notice, but sort of didn't. And our company was left scrambling. And the only person in the building who also had done work for A&E Magazine was me. And so I was like, well, hey, it would be pretty cool if I got this job, but I also realized I'm pretty inexperienced. Well, because long story short, I ended up getting the role as editor in chief at a pretty young age, which was very exciting. Had the former editor not left his role, I'm not sure I would have gotten the opportunity. But given my a little bit of experience in that side of the industry, which is largely encompasses engraving, UV printing, rotary printing, and a lot of promotional products, believe it or not, I was able to confidently say, like, yes, I can take this role. Yes, you could, through like help and guidance of other people in the building.
Yeah.
But yeah, lucky.
Being in the right place at the right time, but then leveraging that so that you can kind of take advantage of the luck of being there.
Right. Now, was I nervous? Heck yeah, I was nervous. But it's so funny because I decided I wanted to be a journalist when I was like 14 years old. I was like, I definitely want to be a journalist. This is for me. And then as I started getting more experience through college, I was like, okay, being a journalist is cool. I really want to be an editor because for me, there's nothing more satisfying than like this big, beautiful page layout, making decisions on how it should run and like all that good stuff. So like talk about luck that I got to get my dream job
Awesome.
before I had anticipated. So, well, cool. I'm sure plenty of people listening to this have also had maybe a little bit of luck in their personal or professional career. So I would encourage anyone listening to reach out to Teresa or I to share your stories of luck, because I would love to talk more about this and to like hear everybody's stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always interested in fun stories.
Well, great. Awesome. Well, speaking of stories of luck, that actually brings us to today's guest, who is here to not only talk about convergence between the print and promo industries and his experience in both, by the way, but he also has some of his own stories to share about luck. So let's welcome Rick Roddis, president of the Taylor Promotional Products business unit. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Rick. We're so happy to have you here. My first question, earlier this year, you were named the business unit president of Counselor Top 40 distributor, Taylor Promotional Products. So could you tell us a little bit about how Taylor provides solutions for both the print and promo spaces and kind of what your new role has entailed?
Yes, thank you. So my background is primarily in the print side. In 2006, Taylor bought a company that I was working for, and I worked in various roles within the printing business. Most recently with Navitor and the Occasions Group that provides printed products to a wide range of distributors, some of them ASI or PPAI distributors, but also large e-commerce retailers, things like that. So in November or December, they approached me to say, Taylor Promotional Products needs a new leader, and we were wondering if you'd be interested. And so I took the role because I did see this convergence of the print and promo markets. Okay, and so the beauty of Taylor is we have both. We have both businesses, and I think that we're going to see these businesses come closer and closer together. We're already seeing this in the enterprise channel, where we're seeing more RFPs or customers coming to us saying, hey, can you merchandise or sell us print products along with our promo products? And also another thing, a question is, what's the difference between a promo product and a print product? You take something like a coaster, we consider that a print product, but really couldn't it be a promotional product for a bar or restaurant? So I think the convergence of the two businesses is happening in the marketplace, and we at Taylor want to take advantage of that.
So that's interesting. And obviously, Teresa and I, that is the message we're trying to get across to everybody, is this massive convergence we're seeing in the industry between print and promo. So I could not have said it better. We're seeing a ton of it as well. The theme for this month's episode, because it's March, is this idea of luck and how you can use it to propel your career and your life in a positive direction. So, Rick, what do you consider the biggest, quote unquote, lucky break of your career so far?
Uh, well, thanks for asking. Yeah, I think in 2006, when Taylor bought the business that I was working for, was probably my biggest break because Taylor was a company with just a lot of different assets, and they were focused on print. And I was working for a smaller business, that like any business was having a hard time, with things like e-commerce and technology and just capital expenditures and things like that. Taylor just opened my eyes to what can happen when you have resources. And Taylor has just given me so many opportunities. It feels like every year I ask myself, am I being challenged or not? And then boom, a new opportunity arises. Just like this year, where they asked me to lead Taylor Promotional Products. So I feel like that was an opportunity for me to just broaden my capabilities, broaden my experience. And so I think that was probably my biggest break.
Right. And so how do you leverage that luck into sustained success? And what attributes do you think are the most important for succeeding in print and promo, especially now that everything is converging?
Yeah, I think for me, it was always raising my hand when there was an opportunity. A great example is in 2020 during COVID, we had to make some tough choices, and we had to eliminate our senior VP of IT and e-commerce. And I was president of a business unit at the time, and I raised my hand at that point and said, "Well, I'd like to become that or carry on that role." And really, it was fortuitous because e-commerce and IT became so much a part of what our business is becoming. And so my learning curve there, was steep, but I'm so glad that I did it because I now have that background. I can't say that I'm the greatest IT or e-commerce person, but at least I understand it. And I think that makes me a better leader. I think I just did a session with some interns. We do an internship program at Taylor, and that was my number one advice. I said, raise your hand. And it doesn't always come with a raise or a promotion or anything like that. It just gives you a broader knowledge of the business. And then you become that much more valuable to the business in the long run.
So, on the flip side, now that we've talked a little bit about lucky breaks, can you pinpoint a time you felt maybe particularly unlucky and how you were able to get past that?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a particular time, but I've missed many budgets. I've lost many customers. I've had good employees leave. I guess people would call that bad news or bad luck. About 8 to 10 years ago, when I was becoming more and more of a leader in the business, I really had to figure out a way to manage that because I was getting so many things coming at me, and I would take them personally. I was like, oh my God, this person left because of this or that. And I really had to kind of normalize that in these kind of roles, you're going to get a lot of really good news and you're going to get a lot of really bad news. And what I try to do is just turn that into information and knowledge about what's happening. Why did I lose that account? What are we missing? What are we lacking? I can't really change that, the losing the account or missing the budget, but I can always learn. And I think as soon as and again going back to the intern, when I explain that to them, I think that really helps them understand that in business you're going to go through a lot of ups and downs. It's just the nature of the game, but your ability to process that and not be paralyzed is really critical.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think we've talked about this a little bit already, but let's kind of go back more to this whole idea of the convergence between print and promo. Do you have any more examples you can kind of share of how these two worlds are converging?
Yeah, I think technology is driving the change, right? Someone shared with me that something like 25% of all orders in print and promo are actually seamlessly going from start to finish. So that means 75% are being touched somehow. Okay. That's from basically the order to shipment. Okay. So what that means is our quoting and estimating and online configuration tools are not meeting the customer expectations. And then when you get into, once the company gets the order, they have to maybe touch up the artwork and things like that. So there's a host of people in what we call the print on demand market that are trying to solve those problems. We were at the conference last week, the print on demand conference. And really a lot of the people there are trying to solve that order flow problem. And if they can do that, then the whole experience for the customer will become a lot more seamless, and actually costs will go down in the whole stream of the order. I think that the interesting part is, it's actually early in the journey. I don't think that it's all done. I think that there are so many ways that this industry can become more, technologically savvy, and I think people are working on that today. And to answer your question specifically about print and promo coming together, I just think that solving those problems will be the same for both print and promo. And then it just becomes a merchandising situation, a merchandising product similarly on these sites. Again, because I don't know if the end customer differentiates between a print or a promo item. And I think that is going to change the industry.
It's interesting because yes, all three of us attended the Print on Demand conference. I took some very interesting, really awesome takeaways about how it is starting to reshape the industry. So, along those lines, Rick, what do you see as the biggest trend? Obviously print on demand, right? But what are some other big trends in print and promo you're seeing for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, print on demand is the hottest topic, and I feel like we all are telling ourselves that it's the hottest topic. But I think even our end customers and our and clients are telling us that that's what they want to. So I think it's a real thing. But I think that I actually think that print on demand is also a catch-all for a lot of things happening. A lot of people, relate it to minimum order quantities. Like, oh, print on demand is about quantities of one, which it is, and that's an important aspect of it. But it's also things like improving the design tools so people can order online. We did a survey, and for people that use our configurators, only 25% of them made it to checkout. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is we're losing people in that configuration process. So I think that print on demand is talking about how do you get more customers ordering online, low MOQs. I also think local shipping or geographically situated shipping is a big deal because shipping has become such a large percentage of the order value. Now, having local shipping is becoming a bigger and bigger deal. And I also think order flows have to be seamless in a print on demand world. So what I see there is, we have many people that fix artwork or, fix orders. You cannot do that if you're doing one. If you're doing 2,000 t-shirts, you may be able to afford that. But if you're doing one, you can't afford that. So I think some of the trends that I see are people really working on that, on the artwork flow, using AI, those kinds of things to automate those workflows and to build a seamless workflow for us and the customer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also very apt and smart. And I love this conversation that we've been having. But as Cassie and I like to do, we always like to kind of end on a lighter note. So I wanted to ask you if you could switch careers for a day and also be instantly skilled and successful at it. So we're not going to ask you to, I don't know, become like a stunt driver, but not know how to do it.
Well, I've thought about this a lot. So I would love to be a fly fishing guide. I'm a big fly fisherman. I live up here near North Idaho, where we have great fly fishing, and Montana. So, and I fish as much as I can. So that would be my dream job. Although I also realize that as I get older, I don't know if I'd really like to row a drift boat 8 hours a day. But I would love to do something in the outdoors just because I love the outdoors, and this is an area that you get to do a lot of outdoors things. But thank you for asking.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, Rick, thank you so much for joining us. I do find it very interesting that we are sort of now traveling the same circuit. You are seeing a lot of the same themes we are in terms of print on demand, the way the industry is moving toward automation, and obviously using new tools like AI or design, all that stuff, new e-commerce platforms, all the things. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. This was really great, and I'll look for you at the next convention that we go to. That it was funny. Now that I see both of you, I recognize you from the show, but we never connected. So
That's what happens sometimes.
yeah, but thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Thanks so much, Rick. That was a great conversation. I'm really glad that you were able to join us today. So now we're going to get into like the fun ending section that we always do. As we alluded to at the beginning of the episode, it's March Madness. So of course, we're not going to go into the basketball part of it, but each of us have created, with the help of some AI, we created some brackets. Mine is all based on promotional products, and I think yours is like print related.
Yep.
And we're going to kind of do a little fun thing where we go through what ChatGPT kind of created for us, these brackets, and who they decided to win. It's totally arbitrary. I would not take anything it says as gospel, but hopefully it'll just be some nice fun ideas.
Yeah, and to reiterate what Teresa said, we actually asked ChatGPT to pick the contenders, pick the winners, and then give us some funny insight. So if you're upset about a winner or a particular bracket, don't take it up with us. Take it up with AI.
Yep, it's not our fault. We had nothing to do with it. We prompted it and then wash our hands of it.
Awesome. Well, okay. So Teresa, do you want to start maybe with your first players?
Yeah, here's my first pairing is youth baseball jersey versus custom rubber duck, which is actually a callback to our last episode, I think.
Brilliant. Okay, so I personally think the rubber duck should win.
And you're right. Because here's the reasoning. Because no one ever put a youth baseball jersey in their bathtub for company. As far as we know. I don't know. I mean, people are weird. They may have.
Epic. Well, okay. While not as fun, my first two contenders in the apparel decorating bracket division, whatever you want to call it, is an auto screen printing press versus a single head embroidery machine.
I guess I'm going to go with auto screen printing press because that seems more efficient.
You are correct. So much as I love embroidery, the auto press wins it out because, and this is what AI says, once benched for taking too long to warm up, it now dominates with its ability to print hundreds of shirts before you even finish your coffee.
I love it. And this is okay. It's funny because the next category of mine is vacuum insulated tumbler versus reusable stadium cup.
Ooh, that's tough because I like both and both are drinkware. Oh man. I'm going to say the stadium cup because maybe it brings a underdog value. Is that what I'm saying? Is that what I'm thinking? No.
Vacuum insulated tumbler. It keeps coffee hot and iced tea cold for what feels like forever.
All right, fair. As an owner of several insulated tumblers, I can get behind that. All right, second pairing for me, still in the apparel decorating category, is the direct-to-film printer. Obviously had to include it. Versus the heat press.
I'm going to go with heat press just because it's so versatile for many different things.
Ooh, bummer. ChatGPT does not agree. Direct to film is winning because this rebellious teenager of the industry ignores the rules and sticks to everything.
Sticks to everything. That's good. I like it. All right. Here's my next one. Branded pop socket versus custom wireless earbuds.
I'm going with branded pop socket.
Oh, wrong again.
Dang it. I'm bad at this.
Pop sockets are handy, but tunes on the go are unbeatable. I mean, it'd be weird if we were good at this totally random, arbitrary thing, right?
I know. And also, you can't argue with some of the logic here. Okay, so now moving on into the wide format printing space, we have UV flatbed versus a dye sublimation printer.
I'm going to go with dye sublimation.
Ooh, they chose UV flatbed because yes. Here's the reasoning. The MacGyver of printing, if it fits under the print head, it's getting inked.
I love that we referenced MacGyver in this.
I know.
Okay, my next one. Full color tote bag versus embroidered dad hat.
Full color tote bag.
And you're right. But the reasoning is amazing because it can hold groceries, gym clothes, and existential dread all at once. Which is kind of a random thing for the AI to pop in
Right.
there, but okay.
Oh, great. All right, so next I've got an aqueous inkjet printer versus an Inco solvent printer.
Oh, well, I got to go eco-solvent because of sustainability.
It chose eco solvent because it smells like a science experiment gone right
Oh,
for the sustainability reasons.
I love that.
So there you
All
go.
right, here we go. The next one I have is glow-in-the-dark fidget spinner versus personalized stress ball.
Personalized stress ball, and that's purely based on what I want.
This one, it's actually the fidget spinner because it says it's stress relief and a light show in one.
Fair. Multitasker.
Right.
Moving into the packaging space, I have a label printer versus the shrink wrap system.
I got to go with label printer.
No, it chose shrink wrap and it says it was kicked out of magician school for making everything disappear into tight plastic.
Oh my goodness. This is so like, I don't know, dad joke.
I
Um,
know.
okay, my next one is scented promotional candle versus logo branded power bank.
Gotta go with the candle.
No, it's the power bank because dead phones don't smell great.
Fair. I can't even with this. Okay, next in the packaging space, box folding machine versus your traditional die cutter.
Oh, I want box folder because that sounds fun.
You're correct. Box folding machine is convinced it's a championship origami master, but only folds cardboard.
All right, my next is custom golf balls versus personalized beach towel.
Beach towel.
Correct. More people go to the beach than hit a hole in one.
That's right. In the commercial space, we have the digital printing press versus the offset printing press.
Gotta go with digital.
You know it, girl. You got it. It has a god complex because it prints millions of colors while lasers make cool noises.
Now I'm like picturing like a laser light show as we're getting something printed. All right, so this is the last of my Sweet 16. We have the die cut logo air freshener versus branded socks.
Oh, branded socks all the way. I love branded socks.
Yes, correct, because nobody has ever said, wow, I need more air fresheners in my life.
That's right. All right, my final matchup for the Sweet 16 is a large format roll printer versus a foil stamping machine.
Foil stamping.
Yep, you got it. Foil stamping is only here for the bling and refuses to print anything unless it shines like a Grammy Award.
Heck yeah, I love it.
All right, so do we want to do our next matchups? Do we like try and take a guess who wins? What do we got, Teresa?
Well, we could do you want to do the Elite 8 real quick?
Yeah, let's run through it.
So it goes to custom rubber duck versus vacuum insulated tumbler.
Gotta go with rubber duck.
Tumbler. Ducks are fun, but caffeine is a survival necessity.
That's true. It's true. I've got the auto screen press versus the direct to film.
Direct to film.
Oh man, no. It chose the auto screen printing press because screen printing isn't dead.
Okay.
I was like, all right, fair.
That's fair. Custom wireless earbuds versus full color tote bag.
Earbuds.
Tote bag, because you can always find room for another tote.
That's true. You can. Here's who I have. I have the UV flatbed versus inkjet.
Inkjet.
They did choose the inkjet. Yeah. Oh man, you're good at this. Love it. All right.
Glow in the dark fidget spinner. Oh, glow in the dark. What? Fidget spinner versus power bank. Sorry.
Fidget spinner.
Power bank.
Oh man.
Because a fidget spinner won't help when your phone dies mid-text.
It's true. It will not. I've got the label printer versus a box folding machine.
I still like the box folding machine.
You got it, girl. You got it.
All right. And then personalized beach towel versus branded socks.
I still got to go with braided socks. I love braided socks.
Beach
No,
towel, because one of these belongs on a tropical vacation and it's not socks.
fine. I like tropical vacations. Fine. Okay. Last in my Elite Eight, digital press versus a foil stamper.
I still like the foil stamper.
Nope. GPT says digital press because digital is all the rage.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we just go to the championship? Let's wrap
do it.
up. Okay.
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think is the winner of all the promo? If you can even remember which ones have been winning.
I feel like maybe the beach towel because everybody is wanting a tropical vacation right now.
It's the vacuum insulated tumbler. Because
Fine.
no matter how much tech advances, humans will always need coffee. I really think that the AI was uncaffeinated when it put this together.
It had to have been, right? Like, without a doubt. All right, so who do you think is the winner for ours?
Okay, I'm trying to remember. We got my favorite little foil stamper is gone. I'm going to go with screen printing because screen printing isn't dead, the auto press.
Ooh, much as I wish that was the winner, it's actually the box folding machine. Surprise victory! It takes the crown, proving that packaging is king.
Okay. All right.
All right, Teresa. Well, that was a lot of fun. I love ending on a really silly, funny note. Good luck to all of you who fill out a real March Madness basketball bracket. I wish you luck.
Have you ever won one?
No, and I fill out like 10 every year and I never win. It's really unfortunate. I have won money though before. Even though I have not won the bracket, I have won money before. So that makes me happy. But anyway, next month I'm really excited because it's April and we all know that means sustainability month.
And my birthday.
Yay! So make sure you stick around and pay attention to what's going on because you know we're gonna have something good planned.
For sure.